Right. Welcome everybody. My name is Gurumurthy Raghupati, but most of us know myself as Agile Guru, or most of you know me as Agile Guru. I'm based out of a small city called London, and here today we are going to learn about a new thing which is called safe deployment releases using Argo rollouts. Now, what to save releases and what and everything we will go through. The agenda is very simple. First, we will tell what is rollouts and why we are going to use it, how to install it. Once it is installed, how to define your rollouts and how you're going to deploy it. And what are the mechanism, UIs and CLIs which are visible to do the things. Okay. Now, please make it as interactive as possible. There is no wrong questions, nothing. And no swearing, please, because obviously it's a professional environment. So standard norms should be followed. Okay. Right. Now, can someone tell me why are we doing Canary deployments or AB deployments or blue-green deployments or safe deployments? Why do we do that?
Basically for validation the service, whatever the service we deploy, right? And to validate properly every minute, so it's like a heartbeat. So for that we are doing a Canary deployment.
Okay. Is this for only for live or is this for non-live as well?
For both.
Yeah.
Both
But
we are doing
but majority of the time it is for production.
production.
Because production is real business. Other we can or we cannot do, but the syntax remains the same. Okay, very good answer. What happens if the deployment is not safe?
It goes back to previous.
You can roll back.
Because we are
You
not
have to take a rollback and other things.
Okay. Yeah, there is an outage. Yeah. Hari, your mic is not that visible. You have to come nearby most probably. Yeah. So why safe deployment is changes to live environment is risky because the person who's doing the release, normally an operation person, does not know what is going at every step to all the Nikon corner. And the development team may not have considered everything. So there is a chance that it may fail. Very less, but still possible. And the thing is, let's say if you're working in a financial company, you cannot do live testing because you have to put in your credit card or debit card or whatever it is. And medicals, definitely not. You cannot test whether you have cancer or not because that's how it works. So deployment and testing live is a risky business. And if you don't do it properly, it may lead to outages. So just make sure. And the first question is, Guru, we can have multiple live environment. Well, there is a problem with that. Multiple live environments means you have to maintain more infrastructure, which means it is costly, obviously. And also, if you have multiple live environments, people may not test every live environment because it's a manual thing, because you cannot automate live because of the data which is present. So it is better to have one live environment, but do multiple deployments in a way so that live customers are not affected. And there are multiple strategies to do that. We're going to look at two things today. One is called Canary deployment, and other is called blue-green. Can someone tell me why is the name Canary? Why the name Canary?
I can take a shot at it, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead, Ishwar.
So earlier, when there were like people mining coal from coal mines, there were like gases being released in the mine, and then people used to die, right? Because of that. So what they started as a practice is that they'll put a canary bird in a cage, and then they'll carry that bird everywhere. So whenever there is leakage of gas, the bird will start, chirping, and then they can safely get out of it before it is too late, right?
Yeah.
So that's why maybe they and in our case also, like when you do the Canary deployment, you do a small set of tests first, a small change test, and then if everything is okay, then only the rest of the change will follow.
Okay. Or you expose the live environment, the change to a minimum set of people, so that they can look into it, and then when everything is okay, you expose it to the whole world. Yeah.
Whole world.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect answer. Thank you, Mr. Ishwar. It's really appreciated. But okay, now what you have said is perfect. But then what happens in Canary deployment? Remember what I said before was we don't have multiple environments. It's only one live, but we can do some tweaking into it. So in Canary deployment, there is only one live environment. There is no separate kind of URLs, but you deploy multiple versions anyway, and then route the traffic accordingly. Yeah. So single live environment, but multiple versions. Okay. And how do you do? Normally, you say, for typical example is the number of 20% of the traffic should be going to the new version. And if everything is okay, then slowly switch the 100% of the traffic if there is no issue, and then shut down the old versions. Any doubts so far? Is this clear? Because when I do the demo, you have to be very sure that you understand. There is only one live environment, but multiple versions deployed. You start with 20% of the traffic, and then when everything is okay, you take 100% of the traffic if there is no issues. Yeah? Cool. Now we will do for blue-green. Anyone can take a hinge at blue-green? Anyone? Doesn't matter. Just go for it.
I'll go again maybe.
Yeah.
So for blue-green, basically it's like you keep one environment live, it is exposed to the customer, and then at the same time you build another environment. You can call maybe the first one blue and then second one green.
Yeah.
And then you do all the deployment and everything in the green environment. You verify all your changes, test cases, everything on the green environment as if it is production ready environment. And then when there is a deployment that you want to expose to the outer world, then you just switch the pointers basically to your ALB. So your website is now pointing to the secondary environment.
Yeah. So perfect answer. I think Ishwar should be co-hosting my next one. Yes.
Sure. It will be my privilege, Guru.
Yeah, Ishwar, means this is an open forum, and please let me know, and I'll be more than happy to be. You lead the show, and I will be your water boy, if you want to be. Okay. So what he has said is a perfect answer. There are two environments, or we call the preview and the live environment, and you deploy. It's the same idea, though you deploy multiple versions. But here there are two environments, so it's a switch. It's either on or off, or you can go to your normal house, or you can go to your kitchen, or your room, or your kitchen, kind of thing. Yeah. Then what you do is deploy the new version to a preview environment, or what we call internal testing environment, and they do all the testing for 5-10 minutes, and everything is okay. Then you literally switch the traffic, as Ishwar said, your ALB or load balancer or your DNS entry to this one. Yeah, perfect answer. So you have two environments, what we call the blue-green, but here traffic cannot go to both the environments. But in Canary, it can. In Canary, only 20% goes to one, and then depends on a lot of criteria. But today we will not make it too complicated. But just remember, in blue-green, there are multiple environments. One is preview and one is live, and then you switch, and then later on you do the needful. Yeah? Why use Argo rollouts then? I'm sure there are lots of tools to do that. Why use Argo rollouts in the first case? Any ideas? Any suggestions? Any thoughts?
I guess it's easy, as Argo CD is also a part of where they do automated deployment. So Argo rollout would be a nice tool, to sync with it, and it will be easier for other people to use that.
Okay, so it's part of Argo suites. The first to do deployments is Cargo, Cargo. to do the deployments is Argo. And once the release is happening, then you do Argo R or Argo rollouts. So they have named it in a good way. Okay. So Argo rollouts. Now, Cargo, Argo, and rollouts is a Kubernetes specific technologies. These are dependent on Kubernetes. Unfortunately, this does not work on non-Kubernetes environment. So if you are working with VMs and deploying it manually, unfortunately, Ansible or some other tools is your friends. This tool does not work. As far as I know, but I may be wrong. But from my experience, it's not possible because the way it does. Okay. So first, it has some CRDs. Then you make minimal changes to manifest. And then you promote via a CLI or a GUI. I will be promoting using a GUI, but we'll see the output in the CLI, which I have already set up. Okay. Yeah. And it is well integrated with Argo CD and Cargo, so that when you deploy, it happens automatically in a way which is very intuitive and well to do. Any questions so far? Okay, then I will ask questions then. What is a CRD?
It's a custom resource definition.
Okay.
It's like extending the existing functionality of Kubernetes.
Okay. Can you expand?
Suppose like deployments is one of the Kubernetes object.
Mhm.
We want to add additional functionality to it. We create a CRD, custom resource,
Mhm.
and then you can utilize it like an operator kind of.
Yeah, exactly. But the only thing, okay, the differentiating factor of a CRD, if you have not installed something, if you look at the code, you will not see Kubernetes. Like normally it has this ones. For example, if I pick a service, like an ingress, it tells kats.io. Yeah, that's not the problem. But when I look at, for example, let's say if I pick my blog, a service is a V1, it's a normal service, and it's a Kubernetes native object. Yeah, simple. But if I look at the rollout, it says argoproj.io. Means this is a different version, which is a CRD which has been installed so that you can create these custom objects. So this is what is called a custom resource definition. To find out, you can do a simple thing. Let me see if I can shell new window. kubectl get CRD. Just remember that CRDs are non-namespace bound. Okay, so for example, these many CRDs I have installed. I will go for grep Argo, and you see these many are there. One of them is, for example, rollouts.argo. Yeah, can you see? Okay, I'll zoom it up a bit. Somebody is not able to see. So these are some of the CRDs, for example, projects, rollouts, stages, warehouses, applications, and whatever. Somebody who has done with Argo CD may understand this one. But if you see, it's very simple. It will be argoproject.io alpha, and this is the rollout, which is the first character here. Yeah, so that's how it works. So this is how rollouts are done. Okay, so these are essentially CRDs. Yeah, just because remember when you're using products like Argo or Cargo or rollouts, you don't write your typical deployments. You have to write a different kind of deployment or enhanced deployment. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So today, for example, if I have a normal customization, I would have one service, which is same. I will normally have a deployment. This is how a typical deployment looks. You have a deployment, and then you say the name, the replicas, the template, and all the simple stuff. But when it comes to rollout, only you have to make minimal changes. Yeah. For example, the first thing is these two needs to change, of course, because it's a CRD. So you put argoproj.io and kind as rollout. Everything else remains the same, apart from this strategy, which says, what is the strategy? It's a canary. When you do the deployment, first 20% enable it straight away, pause, and someone let approve it manually. When someone approves it, rest of the replicas will be deployed and the previous replica set will be destroyed. So what we are doing here is telling the strategy here. Rest of the things are literally the same. There is nothing difference. The only thing is you have to add these two and then add the strategy. This is for Canary. I will show you for blue green. Okay, so where is my content? Yeah. So if you look at this one, it's the same rollout, but here the strategy is blue green, and you tell what is the active service and auto promote, yes or no, false. When we come to blue green, I will show you more details, but for the first time, we will stick to Canary deployments. Any questions so far?
Just to add to maybe the CRD part of it. So CRD can be like viewed as an application which is native to Kubernetes.
Yep.
So just like a Kubernetes command, you could actually run commands that are formulated by the CRDs as well.
Yeah.
Like scripts and other things.
Yeah.
Whereas when you do a regular deployment, it leverages Kubernetes functionality like your service and pods and other things, but they cannot be run as a command or any other like native Kubernetes objects.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Ishwar. Okay, Vishal has a question. Go ahead, Vishal.
Hey, hi, Guru. So my question is, this 20 that we have written, does it reflect 20% of the total number of pods across all namespaces? Is that we can assume?
No. It's a set weight is 20% of the traffic.
Okay.
It's 20%.
So how will it determine?
Based on the number of replicas. Based on the number of replicas. In my case, it's 1. So what happens is it will have, see, what I have done here is revision history is 2. Yeah, means after deployment, there will be 2 replica sets, correct? Yeah. What it will do is in the new deployment, it will send a 20% traffic to the new replica set. Rest 80, it will send it to the old replica set.
Okay. So let's say we have 50 pods in total running in an environment, for example.
This will have only 1 pod, no, because the replicas is 1.
That I understood. I was asking a hypothetical scenario. Let's say we have 50 pods running.
Yeah.
How do we handle in that case?
Okay, then but after the deployment, we will have total 100, correct? Because 50 in the old replica set and 50 in the new replica set, because we are deploying twice. Yeah. And then what happens is, then after deployment, 20% of the traffic goes to the new replica set. Sorry, my mistake. It won't do 50 deployment pods. 20% of 50 is 10. It will create 10 pods and then route the traffic to that one.
So the new set of 10 pods will be created.
Exactly.
The new version will be routed via those 10 pods.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But old pods still remain.
Yeah, old pods still continue to run. Okay, got that.
Okay.
Thanks.
And then when I approve, say promote everything, what will happen is 40 more will be created. Yeah. And then the previous 50 will be destroyed.
Right. Got it. Thanks.
Okay, no worries. Any other question? Yes, go ahead, Kamran.
So, Guru, under strategy, you have mentioned pause. Can you explain what is the purpose of
pause? Means a user has to go and manually approve.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be automatic as well. You can say after 5 minutes, just deploy. So wait for 5 minutes and then do automatic. To show the demo, I have made it as pause. inside pause, you can give more options.
Okay.
Duration. Yeah, you can give more durations if you want.
But as per my understanding, like when we are deploying, we need to make the manual intervention like as minimum as it can, right?
No, you're not doing the thing. For example, you will be using a tool something like this one. Just give me 1 minute. Here. So for promotion. Yeah.
Okay.
This is what you will be doing.
Right.
So you have to literally say, for example, this will be a Canary deployment. I would say deploy, and I will just click the promote button. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
It's not like I have to execute 10,000 commands now.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ishwar.
Just a quick question on the same, or a doubt maybe. So we talked about a 50 pod scenario, right? Is it possible for us to, in this demo itself, like have a replicas of 10?
Unfortunately, I'm running on a cluster which is of low capacity.
Okay. No, not a
If I do it, then I may not get the right demo. And if the
No,
demo goes bad, then I have a problem.
It's okay. I just wanted to confirm one thing, that when we talked about like 20% pods getting created, I'm not sure, but I think the older replica set will be reduced by 20%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what happens. So total number will always be 50.
Always be 50. Okay.
Yeah. So 50, 10 will be created. And if they all say that if their liveness probe and readiness probe becomes good, then 10 will be killed.
And the older one will be reduced.
But 10 only will be killed, not everything.
Okay, got
10
it.
will be killed, and then you do. But if you say rollback, then the new results replica set will be deleted and the old 10 will be created again.
Okay, got
But
it.
if you say promote, then the next remaining 80% will be created in the new replica set, and the old replica set will be
deleted.
Made into, and that's why normally this revision history is kept to 3 or 5. For demo purposes, I have made it to 2 so that people can understand. This is the history. So you can, revision history is your replica set history, which knows what was the version of the previous deployment.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Looks like it's a no. Okay. Right. Now what I'm going to do is do a deployment. But before that, let's see what is the deployment we are trying to do in the first case. Yeah. So this is for my rollouts. Where is my, this is my blog. So I'm going to do a blog deployment. If you look at my code here, this is for the blog application. I'm going to do a Canary deployment. So the current version, which is online, is 3.13, if you see. Yeah. I'm going to deploy an old version because I want to do some engineering. Yeah. Please understand, you can do 3.14, really doesn't matter. But before testing 3.13 and 12, I have to test it locally to see what is the difference. So what I'm going to do is 3.12, for example, has cloud. This is what I'm expecting to be happening in live. Yeah. But in live, if I go to tech.agile guru, it has cloud native. So the difference, this is for demo purposes already. Of course, in real scenario, there will be a lot of changes, but to make it simpler, the only change is we're going to move from cloud native to cloud. That's the only demo we're going to do today. Yeah. So the live version is 3.13, which you can see already. 3.13. I'll zoom it up a little bit. Yeah. And we're going to go to 3.12. Any questions so far? No? Okay, good. Right. So I'm going to go and do a deployment to dev, and I'm going to pick one, and I'm going to say deploy to dev 3.12. Yes. Then what it does, it clones it, and it's waiting for a PR to be approved. So I'm going to go and wait for my approval, which is backstage. Oops. Agile, no. GitHub.com, Agile Guru / okay, repository, backstage. And if you see, it has raised a pull request. It's saying promote Dave to 312. What is the change? It is whatever, yeah, and it is having to roll out, yeah. Okay, I may have made a mistake. Let's see. I think this demo is not going to go as per my need. So what I'm going to do is not use cargo because I forgot to merge, and it will become a deployment. And so what I'm going to do here is, rather than using cargo, I'm going to use a manual way of doing things. My apologies. I should have looked into this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is in blog, in my dev environment, yeah, and I'm going to go into this one and make it into 312. Yeah, normally I would do it in cargo. If you look at day before yesterday's session, all this was done using cargo. It just makes this change. So I'm going to do backstage cd dev activity apps backstage git status git diff. I have reverted from 313 to 312. Yeah. So git add kts git commit minus m 3.12 git push origin develop. Okay, git pull ori.
It got rejected. It got rejected, Guru.
Sorry?
It got rejected, Guru.
Yeah, I know. Control R rebase. Yeah. Okay, and let's see what has happened. Okay, git push origin develop. Yeah, okay. So yeah, and looks like it's 312 now. And if I go to my Argo, okay, I think this may not work as expected, because it needs me to approve the okay, github.com/agile guru repositories backstage and this one. And what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to change these many files because it will think I will say conversion, and I'm going to say close. Yeah. And then if I go to my cargo and I do refresh, unfortunately, it does not work. Okay, no worries. Okay, did that work? Most probably. Okay, this failed. No worries. We have a different way of doing things. CD K K8s overlays dev. Yeah, and what we're going to do is kubectl apply minus k dot. Yeah. So it has going to deploy my blog configured. So if you see, as soon as I do that, something has changed here. It's doing a Canary deployment. Can you see here? A Canary deployment. And if I go to my live environment, which is tech.agile guru, you will see cloud native. But if I press it again, nothing. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is go to my rollouts or cloud rollouts. Please come. Yeah. And this is in Canary. Yeah. And if you see, I have both the versions. And this is in dev. So I was testing it in the wrong environment, tech.dev. Yeah. So I have cloud native. Now, if you see, I have a Canary deployment. Yeah, it's switching between environment, correct? Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is saying, looks like it's okay. So what I'm going to do is go to my dev environment and say promote. Yes. As soon as I promote this one, the old version 3.13 gets destroyed and the 3.12 becomes the only person which is live. Let's wait and see how it works. Now, if you see, it will be always cloud only. It's not switching. And the previous one is destroyed. It's terminating. You see no pods are there. So with the constraint which I have provided in my YAML, the 20% has been done. Any questions so far? I know this was supposed to do using Cargo, but sometimes, in real world scenario, not everything is perfect. I have to do it manually. But at least we got the same output. Yeah. So 3.12 has been deployed. If you see, it is 3.12, and we had a very safe deployment of my Argo. Yeah. So now we have a proper DevOps environment. Any questions so far? No questions? Okay. Shall we go to the next one then? Yeah. Okay. So the next one is we are going to use something called blue-green. Yeah. And to be honest, I have not tested it. So I hope the gods are with me. Let's assume so. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the content on my dev environment, which is www, which is the live environment. Let's assume so. Yeah. And what I'm going to do, I have a preview environment. It's called preview.dev. If you see, both are same, because if you see, there are 3 links at the bottom and there are 3 links at the bottom here. Yeah. But if you look at my local of my portal, the local version, yeah, it will have, after the change, it will have 4 links. This is my local version. Yeah. So the expectation is after my deployment, I should have 4 links instead of the 3 ones. That is what we're going to do. Any questions so far? No? Okay. So what I'm going to do now is, this is for blog. Now blog is done. So I'm going to go to my sites deployment. If you see, the deployment strategy here is blue-green and it has only 1 pod. Yeah. So what I'm going to do here is the same change. I'm going to revert to 1.3. Yeah. That's the only change. And where is my tag? Okay, a window. Yeah, there you go. So git status. Yeah, git diff. Yeah, it has changed to 1.3. So I'm going to do the apply minus K. And if you see, the rollouts for my site has been configured. I mean, it's telling me that a new replica set has been created. Normally, I will go through Cargo and then Argo. Unfortunately, my commits were not synced, so apologies on that side. Okay, and then when I do that, I just do a refresh. And if you see, I have 2 of them. Yeah. Now, if you see in my preview, it says it's 1.3, but the live is still 1.4. So if I go to my live environment, which is dev, I will see the same old only. It's not changed. But in my preview environment, which was preview, sorry, preview, now I have 4 links. You see, I have 4 links in my preview. It had 3 links before. Now it has 4 links. Yeah. So what happens is in blue-green, rollouts makes the changes to the review service, and it says use the new result set or replica set. So it changes the service itself. Yeah. Not the replica set. It deploys to, but changes the underlying service to make it. That's why you need to specify what you are trying to do. For example, if I look at my rollouts for my content, which is here, rollouts, what I'm saying is the preview service is www preview. So in my service, I have 2. One is www, and one I have is called www preview. And both are pointing to the same replica set. But at runtime, when you do the deployment, this changes the replica set and points it to this one. And it does it automatically. So you need to have kind of 2 routing. So it's like blue and green. Yeah. So you have a preview environment and a live. Live is never changed. Only your preview is changed all the time. And you can take as much time to test it. That's the only plus point of this one. So now my preview has 4, but my live still has 3. Yeah, 3 links at the bottom. So now what I'm going to do is promote. When I promote, what happens is both of them becomes live. Okay, so now it has become the live. You see the active 1.3. Yeah. So now both my preview, this is my preview, is 4, and my live should always be 4. Takes a bit of time to apply, which is a bit annoying. And you see, now the live version has become this. I can roll back if I want to. Yeah. I can roll back to the previous version if I want to, but now my preview has become the active version. And when I promoted it, the active also, or the real version also has become the active. Any questions? You can ask any questions. So if you look at the difference in Canary, there were 2 which were be able, from the same URL, I was able to hit, and I was getting a different output, cloud and cloud native and this. But in blue-green, the live will never change. You get a preview environment, which I have routed separately, so that you can do the normal testing and everything. And then when you are okay, you just press the promote button, and then your preview becomes also the live, and your live becomes also the same replica set. Any questions? No?
Guru, how
Yeah.
we can define this in the ingress controllers? Like, I mean, we will define both the services.
Yeah, that's what I have done. So, okay, right. So the service is called www preview, and then www. Yeah. Okay, that's a very good question. Thank you very much for asking. So in my dev, if you look at my ingress, I have two. One is called one is called tech. Where is it? Agile Guru. Yeah. So if you look at, I have two in www.dev.ingress.org and preview, and both are pointing to different services, www and www preview. So I have two services which the ingress is pointing to. Does this make sense?
Got it.
So for the preview URL, you can do port forwarding and do it, but I didn't want to use port forward because then I have to execute some command. I have just created a separate preview environment. Normally, it will not have a public URL. Normally, it will be an internal URL like .trusted something, and which will not be a public DNS. In my case, for demoing purposes, I put it as a live, which is reachable. But normally, this one is an internal URL for previewing purposes. That's what you normally do. In banks, they have a preview.internal, and it's only known to internal people because the external DNS does not require. And even if it's there, it will be an internal IP address. So literally, you cannot do anything. Does this make sense? Yeah? Cool. And that's all for the demo. So if you have any other questions, I am replied, or else we can stop the recording. And thank you very much for attending.
Yeah, just a quick note on the Canary maybe. So when we did the test right now, we were like clicking in the same browser URL, and we were able to see two different results, right?
Yeah.
20% results are different, and then 80% results are different, right?
Yes.
So just a comment on this one. So generally in a live environment, like where suppose you are hitting Instagram, right? And they have a blue theme right now, and then they suddenly move towards the red theme. So when a user is hitting Instagram, say suppose 10 times, he will not be switched between these two.
No, they won't be. There will be such an affinity. Yes.
Exactly. So the users will be using sticky sessions.
Yeah.
And one particular user will, if it is exposed towards the Canary deployment, he will only go towards the Canary related changes.
Yes.
And the rest of the users will still be on the older one. So there won't be any inconsistency.
Yeah, exactly. It means once you are switched to Canary, you will always be in Canary. But chances of you going to Canary will be defined by session stickiness. Exactly. Yeah. Very good view, Mr. Ishwar. You're really an Ishwar. You're the God. So thank you very much for helping out, man. It's really appreciated. Any other questions or reviews or facts?
Guru, I just wanted to ask you that you have showed a really good demo, and even though I was there in the cargo session as well, but it didn't happen. Right? I just wanted to know that as a DevOps engineer, what would be the criteria to choose which deployment strategy to choose on which time, like to go on blue green or Canary? It does have some kind of requirement based on the application, but as a DevOps engineer, we need to choose what would be the best. So as a like you are really a great person who have a really much experience about DevOps and everything. So what would be your experience in this kind of scenario?
Ishwar, do you want to answer? Then I'll put my views.
Yeah, I'll go first, no problem.
Yeah.
So from the decision-making perspective, it usually is not a DevOps engineer who will make this decision, right? He'll be at least a DevOps architect or some sort of a senior solution architect. And how it is defined is basically how. So maybe we didn't talk about it earlier, right? So this is all about controlling the blast radius. That's the keyword here, right? So you are having, say, suppose millions of users, okay, at any given point of time. Instagram is a correct example, right? So if you expose a change, it could be anything, right? If you expose a change and that change is deployed to all the million users at a time, now your blast radius is too much, right? It's a very large blast radius. Everybody is impacted. Now, if you want to reduce that blast radius because you want to keep your company's name, up to the mark, basically, then you will say, okay, only the 10% users will be exposed to the new feature. And if something goes wrong, basically, I'll only 10% users will be unhappy, right? The rest of the 90% users will be still happy. So it becomes a clear choice of having Canary deployment, right? These are the questions that you need to ask yourself: whether how much is your customer base, if something goes wrong, how people are getting affected. Like there is a healthcare industry, right? Suppose in healthcare your blast radius is 100%, you'll be in a very big mess, right, at that time. Now on the other side, blue green is very helpful when your testing cycle is very huge, right? You are not able to perform all the test cases maybe in a day, in a complete day, right? You need maybe a week to do all the regression testing and everything, and then you can roll out the actual test, release, right? But you can't keep the release happening throughout the entire week, right? You have to make sure that the release only happens in a given window. It could be an hourly window, or it could be maybe half an hour window. So in that case, you could go ahead and opt for a blue-green deployment, basically, where you have already verified everything. Now you have both the environments running. You take a downtime window from your, CM, customer relation manager, or whoever is your in charge, basically.
Yeah.
And then in that window, basically, you do the switch over. So
Yeah.
now all the users are exposed to the new change. So
Yeah.
that's something I could add. Maybe.
Yeah.
Guru, you can.
Yeah, and also it depends on the kind of change. For example, and remember, it's not like you can only do this or this. You can do both technically.
Yeah.
Yes. See, for example, if there is a major change which includes databases which cannot be rolled out, then blue-green is the only option they have, because they can't have both. Because if you're writing to a null-nullable field, and if the old application tries to write it, and it will not be writing, so it will be writing null to a field, and application may crash. In that case, you have to use blue-green. There is no other option per se.
That's a very valid point.
Yeah. If you're doing database and all those things, then the thing is normally you go. But if you are doing small UI changes, a dark theme, this theme, then Canary is a better option. Yeah. Changes where both can live live at the same time, then Canary is good. But both cannot reside, then normally it is like you have to go to the blue-green, because technically you have two environments to it.
Canary also, I think so, it would be really good where the testing cycle is really, multiple times the testers are in the testing cycle.
Financial industry, normally a Canary is deployed. But for small applications like marketing websites, they use static websites or marketing websites. By car companies, they use blue-green, because there is no transaction. You just browse the models. So there is not much risk into it. Non-transactional, I would say they would use blue-green, of course, but depends. It depends on the change, man. The thing is, it's not like this or this. You can do both. You can use the same application to do both also.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Guru. And thank you, Shwar.
Yeah. Any other questions? No? Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. And thank you very much, Ishwar, and everyone who participated. Please stay behind. Don't turn off your camera.
Hey, Guru, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What about the downtime? Is that we don't have any downtime in Canary, and we do have a few seconds of downtime in Blue?
It depends on your application startup time. Okay. There's a lot of things which go wrong. There, technically in Canary, there is almost zero.
Okay.
But in blue-green, there may be, depends on the pod and startup time and those things. There may be some. They say it's less than 30 seconds.
But it is
there may be, in Canary it's almost zero, but in blue-green there may be. It depends on how fast your application deploys and startups and everything.
Okay. So is it safe to say, even if it's like 2 seconds of downtime in blue-green? So when we talk about the applications like Instagram or LinkedIn, which are used by millions of users, so they should never prefer blue-green then?
Yeah, but as I said, remember, in my case, I have only one environment which is pointing to one DNS. Trust me, like Facebook and Instagram, they don't deploy only one pod. They deploy thousands of pods in every region. And they will never deploy it globally. They will only do it for one small country like Kazakhstan or something where hardly it is used. And they will test everything, then roll it out to some bigger countries, and then to Europe, and then to India.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rishabh. You're on mute. You have raised your hand. Okay. Looks like it's he's on mute. Okay. So I'm going to stop the recording. Manage recording.
Hey, Guru.